coming.
From the Teddy Belanger studio in Rome, New York, welcome into episode 90 of the Avetts and Beyond. My name is Todd Emanuele, along with Ryan Boyles. Special guest joining me today. I've been wanting to have him on for a very long time. His father is a three-time guest on the show. Robert Childers is here. Robert, thank you so much for taking some time with us this week.
Thank you.
Like I said, I've really wanted to have you on. And now we had a really good reason to get you on with this new record that came out that Abe Partridge, your dad, you all, played on it. You did the artwork for it, also produced it. Tell me about the Satan, You're a Liars, Let's Build This House Together, because I listened to it when I got the record from Abe, and I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be fun, and from what they talked about, it was going to be different. It absolutely blew me away. Like the music, just the whole thing, it was so unique, so cool. What was it like being a part of that and working with your dad, and just tell me about it.
Oh man, it was super fun. We do a lot of stuff like this. I'm constantly trying to get recording situations happening with people, and most stuff that I record doesn't actually come out, which is sad. But yeah, I've probably made with my dad 3 or 4 records that we have sitting that we haven't done much with, and we just do this kind of stuff all the time. So Abe was talking about us coming to Nashville, and we got snowed out, and I was like, well, we can do it over here. And he came to my dad's house in Mount Holly, and we just set a bunch of mics up in the living room and went at it. I think they were all skeptical that we were going to get anything good, but I felt pretty good about it. And I took it to this guy, Kenneth Englehart, he has Mustard Seed Sound, and we mixed it and mastered it there over several weeks. But each song was like an individual painting. Like we got in and,
It really is.
Worked each one for like a week before we were like, this is ready to go. So, and I love doing stuff like that. Like I've been lucky to work with several different producers over the years who are, into that kind of thing. And it's just a fun thing to get into.
What kind of go on, I'm sorry.
No, you're cool. Go ahead.
What kind of equipment did you use to record? Was it just like basic stuff, or did you have high-tech stuff? What did you have there?
No, I had like super cheap mics that everyone was very skeptical of. And a Tascam 8-track that's pretty good.
That's cool.
Then I mixed everything down to like this weird little hard drive thing that actually broke on me the other day, which sucks. Okay. But pretty cheap gear. Now my buddy Kenneth has a full-on studio with all the outboard gear and all that, and that's where you really make the stuff shine and bring out all the textures. But I mean, if you go in and you get a cool sound from something, roll with it and see what you get. Like cheaper stuff a lot of times is better for large, like a room like that. When you got like a bunch of dudes in a room, you throw up cheaper mics, you get less bleed through. And I mean, I've been a sound guy for a long time before this, so I kind of learned that from working in clubs and stuff, and just approached it like I would running a band, basically, right. Which was super fun.
So did you guys go in with an idea, or how did it all come about? Because it's so cool how it meshes together. You have different sounds going like in between each track. It's not really separated into tracks per se. You know what? I know I know you know what I mean. People that haven't heard it yet may not, but it's so different from any other record that I've listened to. How did you think of this?
I feel like I'm always making noise collages as like art pieces, and I've got bunches of records like that I've done. But this one, we approached it that way. Abe was like, I'd really like for this to be one continuous track. I've got all these field recordings I've done. I was like, man, send me that stuff. And then I would actually take from my phone or from a computer, and sometimes I would run it direct, but mostly I would capture it in the room using weird microphones off my phone or my computer. You take his field recordings and mix them in and make them even weirder. And it's just super fun. That. It's like
I love this so much.
Immediately, which was great to have someone working with someone who understood it as an artist, like what we were doing was like, yes, let's do it. So
I love it because I love interludes and albums anyway. So just like I always feel like that's something extra that I don't know, add something to it, right? And
a lot of times those for me are the most fun parts of records. I love a really well written song, but when you're making an album, I like for it to flow and be a piece. I'm thinking about some of my records.
Each song on this record, though, is a piece of art. Like
I hope so. That's what we were going for.
That's exactly the vibe I like. I didn't hear a lot about, how it came out and stuff. I knew you guys were doing it, but when I listen, I'm like, this is an absolute gem. It's a piece of art. Every single track. I just love everything about it, and I can't wait to listen to it again.
Well, the field recordings that Abe brought to us were,
Yeah.
amazing moments that he had captured, and there was so much to choose from. I had to pick the best parts of what was happening, and so that made it really easy. And then, several of the spoken word pieces were just things we had discussed, and then they just fell into place. Like we would try different things, and it was like, oh, this works with this. Let's throw this on top of that, and it became a thing.
So stuff that was just stuff that he had recorded, right? Some of it was him preaching.
Yeah, incredible preaching. Like there's one sermon he gives in there, and it's a short one, but it's like one of the most punk rock things I've ever heard in my life. Like the power that he's delivering it with is just incredible. It blows me away. So yeah, I love it.
Can I ask about so it's a mixture of, I guess y'all described it as like there's some old school or traditional gospel mixed together with some original work, right? And so how did you go about like picking which gospel songs from like the traditional stuff that y'all really cared about? Did everybody sort of like just come up with what you thought you liked to sing, or you thought you might do justice recording, or was there some other kind of thought process?
Well, my dad and I have always been into gospel music, Southern gospel, the good stuff. Like there's a lot of cheese that I can't stand, but like Stanley Brothers and Louvin Brothers, stuff like that, So we are coming out of that school, which is to me very weird and also very Victorian. But Abe immediately got that too, and he was finding all these like really obscure kind of old rockabilly religious songs that I'd never heard that were blowing me away, that were really tough, like almost like Ramones songs or something. So it all just like fell together perfectly. Like we had a list of things we were listening to. Now before this, let's take it back. We had done Howard Finster is a folk artist from Georgia, and he's a banjo player and a big inspiration to me since I was a kid. From like early REM records, he was like the cover artist for them, Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm.
And he has this place, Paradise Gardens, that's in Georgia. He's passed on now. But we went there with Abe to do an art show, and we played in his Howard Finster's chapel, which is amazing. And we did a show there, pretty much all acoustic, and we did a lot of these religious numbers just on the fly. And that's kind of where the genesis of it was. And then we sat in tents and just kept singing hymns and songs that we love and we knew, and it just worked. And so we were like, we got to make this record. Then we went to Kentucky and played at the top of this hill at an amazing festival. Man, what is that guy's name? Andrew Hamblin. He's a snake handling preacher, but his band played, and they were unbelievable. And it was their first time playing outside of their church, and they were just like ripping at punk rock, just incredible, like doing like evangelical stomping. And we did that show, and on stage, I was like, "Hey, let's make this record," and Abe was like, "Let's do it." And so there it was, and that was kind of the genesis of it. I mean, I'm sure it was more complicated, but something like that.
Well, can you tell us about so I think some people, you started advertising the name of, I guess, what you're calling yourself as this band, the group that sort of put this album together, which is you and your father, Abe, his son, right?
Yep.
Wyatt. And then some members of Brute Beat, is that right, or is it the Serpents?
Well, Corey is in the Serpents and Brute Beat, our bass player, Corey Dudley, an amazing player all around. And I've been lucky to play with him for the last 20 years in so many different kind of projects. Like he's been in one of the most amazing metal bands I've ever seen called Hectagons before this. And
wow.
When I first met him, he was in a brunch band at this club called Fat City, where they would do like accordion, stand-up bass, and trumpet. And they do like Nintendo songs. It was incredible. And then
for you to say that you've been working with him that long is amazing to me, because you see Corey and he's very unassuming, and he looks like he's 18 years old. He looks like such a young kid, right?
He's actually older than me by a couple months.
Wow.
But Yeah, he was in Abe and the Spike Drivers, which was like one of my all-time favorite bands. And then I got to be in that band with him for about 4 years with Abe, which was incredible. He was like the front man of the Blue Rags for a while, which is an unbelievable band if you haven't seen them. But we did that for a long time, and then it just naturally progressed into him playing with my dad, and we did a band called Lucifer and Agenda. We do Brute Beat. Like we've been doing a lot of stuff together. He's just an amazing player and all around great dude. I'm lucky to have him in my life, pretty much. But yeah, and then Jeff White played fiddle on it, and he's in the Serpents, and we have a Celtic band called Ghost of Braddockburn. We do. It's like a punk band, and
wait a minute. How many bands are you in?
Quite a few.
I'm starting to do hash marks in my notebook. I'm up to 12 now.
Yeah, right. It's like, and you're all interchangeable, all in between these bands. It's like you all play together for
I mean,
which is great.
I feel like if you become a player and you're playing with people, it's a language, so you can just easily segue into other situations with them, which is cool. It's great to have a network like that.
Variety is also the spice of life, I think. So y'all keep it interesting.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's all stuff we're very passionate about. Like this is the music we love, and to be able to present it to people and have them react is just incredible. So,
well, tell me about the name of sort of this group. So it's got a lot of well, it's sort of hard to say and hard to spell, right? Because I heard you and David were even at the benefit over New Year's. You were arguing about what it really was a little bit on stage. So, what is your take on that?
There's a gospel album called "Satan, You're a Liar," and we kind of took it from that. But at the end of the record, there's a preacher, and I forget the guy's name. I feel like it's Cody Cooch's dad, maybe. But he's over and over again saying, "Satan, you're a liar. You're a liar, Satan. You're the same liar that lied to Sapphire." And it's just incredible. And it's one of the best things ever. I had to let it play for like 20 minutes at the end of the record because it was so good. There was no way to like pull out of it. But
I missed this whole story.
I did see, so I got to go back now. Now
the name of the band, the name of the band is the Satan You're a Liar.
Yes,
that's incredible. I thought that was the name of the record.
Right. So I think a lot of people thought it was a record by like David Childers and the Serpents with Abe. And so it's cool.
Which it basically is. Davey Blackburn came in and played. He's also in the Serpents, and just an amazing guy that I've always wanted to play music with. And he's just an inspiration. He got to play with us on it. And who else came in? Oh, my buddy Johnny Boswell that I've been friends with since we were like 4 years old. As a matter of fact, my dad was our soccer coach, and our moms taught at an elementary school together. So we would hang out and draw comic books. That's kind of how this whole thing started. We were like recording songs in a like haunted shed in Gastonia off 321. And I was like, that's how I was kind of refining how to do this, like figuring out how to put what mics in a live setting to make it work. And then when the Abe opportunity came up, I was like, hey, come in and help me with this. You've been working on these recordings with me anyway. You know what's up. And he got on it with a lot of cool backup vocals, some piano lines, as well as Wyatt. Wyatt was doing backups, percussion, cool organ lines. And
he's quite the little musician, isn't he?
Oh, God, it was crazy. I think he's like 11 years old. He was just ripping. Yeah. It's awesome.
Wow. That's wild. Well, I have a segue. You mentioned, so I've been an admirer of your art since, I feel like the first time I saw your art was actually in Pete's studio in Greensboro, maybe. Because I'm from Winston, but have family in Greensboro, and we came to one of those mega shows.
I was blown. One of those. That was awesome. I really appreciate it.
I was blown away by some of your art on the wall that night.
Thanks, man.
And it made me I'm a big comic book nerd. I've been a big comic book guy since I was like 5 years old or something. So I really appreciate that, your style. It's very much, it looks like you're telling a story. And so I was blown away by this album, art, obviously. So,
well, comic books have been a thing for me since I was a little kid. Definitely, really? Like they're a major inspiration, especially like weird comics, horror comics, and
Yep.
Conan, I got into some X-Men.
Makes sense. Stuff, that makes sense with your dad. Being your dad, how he likes the horror movies and stuff.
Well, my dad had a great comic collection that was always around really weird stuff. That he was big into Classics Illustrated, and he would always buy graphic novels, like amazingly weird graphic novels, like Mouse. This one Gorazad that was about the first war in Ukraine after in the early 90s into the Serbian massacres. It was just super brutal, but an amazing comic book. And my dad's into weird stuff, so there was always incredible art laying around. As a matter of fact, my entire family had weird libraries of art books and paranormal phenomenon books, history. So all that stuff was like available, and I think has worked its way into my visual art just from having so much time to spend with that stuff, which is cool because I see that same thing happening with my daughter's art, and it's just incredible to watch it continue.
How old is she now?
She's 8.
And you see her being artistic. I mean, it's in the
family.
family.
She's like really into drawing. Like she's an amazing, and she's telling stories with her drawings already, which is super cool to see.
I love watching, like, my oldest daughter, started drawing when she was young and was, decent at it. But the older they get, man, it gets so much better. Like, she's 21 now and she paints like amazing paintings and just blows me away how talented kids can be. And it just gets better if they keep doing it.
What's weird
I think you have to encourage that, though, right? I mean, so I have a 23-year-old. His bedroom is right beside my office here, and it's still lined with art he made, in high school or whatever, and took art classes, those kinds of things. So he's got all kinds of experimental. He did created like this, what do you call it? The like stamps that you like sort of create art and then create different versions of it.
Oh yeah, like wood blocks, linoleum blocks.
Yeah, it was like wood carving type of stuff.
Okay. That's cool.
But amazing stuff. So but you have to. It is something you have to practice. So, or experiment with, I guess. So
for sure.
So how much of is all of the art for the album?
Here's the painting I just did. Oh, you probably can't see it because of the lighting.
Oh wow!
Oh, we can see it.
No, it has a cool effect.
This is about the flood.
Oh.
It's been inspired by Morgan Gear from Drunken Prayer. His son wrote like a letter. Anyway, you can't see that one that good. What were you going to say about the album artwork?
That's amazing. Well, the question about the album was, did you create all that album art specifically for like lining up along with the songs, or is it just art that happened to be like in the same sort of genre?
Like when I make art, it's like an explosion. It just starts happening, and I can't stop till it's all out. So I like obsessively make stuff like, a lot of like things like our like here's the album piece itself, like which is pretty small,
Got it behind me.
Small, and I feel like I draw better with pen and ink, like smaller. But when I get into paintings, I try to go big, but it's a lot harder. But yeah, so like I did that. And then this kid actually like commissioned me to do a painting. I'm not gonna get into it, but then he didn't want to buy it. But this dude commissioned this, and then he didn't want to use it. So
wait, that's not your dad?
It could be.
Actually, I just assumed it was him.
I stole it from some weird Pentecostal church that was doing a baptism on Facebook. I drew it based off their little
no kidding.
page. Yeah,
that's amazing.
But
so when you're illustrating, when you're doing pen and ink, or when you're doing ink like that, this is probably getting too nerdy, but like, do you draw things that are big and shrink them down, or when you produce like the prints or anything, or do you
I try to draw that was the size that I'm going to print it, because I found when I try to reproduce it and I draw it smaller or bigger, it looks weird, and it kind of like it messes it up. So I try to do it where it's, the size it's going to be reproduced at.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now this record, Abe Partridge went in and did the layout and did an amazing job and like moved some things around and made it look awesome. So shout out to her.
I'm still blown away that the record's called "Let's Build This House Together" and the name of the band is the Satan You're Liars. I had no clue about that. That's really funny, actually. And hearing the story
Howard Finster has a song called "Just a Little Tack," which is about eternal love and working together to fix things. And there's a line in it: "We'll build this house together." And so that's where we got that. But
I think you're gonna blow a lot of people's minds with the.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up the website real quick while we're talking, so that we can. I need to navigate here to so abepartridge.com is where you can find how to buy the vinyl and navigate over not to shows to store.
You got to go to the store, I think.
The wall of demos. Here we go. Let's build this house together. And y'all have a T-shirt, which I'm very tempted. I need a black T-shirt, like I need a hole in my head. But I love your art so much.
But I like that one. I may need to get that one too. I was thinking that this morning. I haven't ordered that yet.
All right.
That's the only place to get the record, though, right? Is abepartridge.com?
That's it. Hopefully we'll have them in shows coming up soon. We're going out in March to do a few things for the record. But yeah, I think you'll have them at some shows to sell. But beyond that, but I feel like we've sold a lot from the website already, so we might be getting low on them, which is good.
Well, that's good.
That's a good
be
problem to
second
have.
printing or pressing, or will they?
I don't know.
Just be exclusive. I'm happy I got mine. I love it.
Hopefully we'll make more records with it. Like it was a great project to be involved in. I'd love to do more.
Right. Well, you could totally do a follow-up to this.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you got all the material, but you going back to something you said before. You said you've done 3 or 4 records with your dad that are just sitting there. Is there any plans to release that stuff? I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to hear that.
I just threw together like a compilation that I haven't released of a couple unreleased songs from this thing and some other tracks of my dad with some other regional artists. And I'm going to try to put that out as a download in the next couple weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff with my dad that I've recorded that I need to do something with. It's just a matter of like, we'll capture stuff and what does it fit into? You know what I mean?
Right.
And we've been lucky that Dolph has helped us put out a lot of records in the past, Off Ramp Tour, and we've had those to sell. And, it's just, we're constantly making stuff, and there's stuff left over from all that stuff we need to do something with. But yeah,
well, eventually everything will see the light of day, and that's what I
hope so. I got to get more like digitally aware of things. Like I'm very analog and kind of like gave up on music after CDs went out, but I'm getting back into it.
And the vinyl thing's cool too. Put it all out on vinyl.
Yeah. Every time we've done anything on vinyl, we've sold pretty well with them. They do better than most things.
Buy them up. You've got a great following, great fans. People in the Avetts group, especially. I mean, we love your dad.
Thank you all so much.
He's the best, and I just love his music and his art and everything. And you followed right in his footsteps. What's it like getting to perform with your dad all these years? Like, how many people get to say they get to do that? Not many.
It's kind of insane. Like, we have a different kind of relationship than I think most father and sons do. Like, we've been involved in lots of really like crazy, real situations all over the world. And it's the kind of thing you would probably go out and do with a crew. And then you're in there like with your family, which makes it even wilder. I don't know. Shows are crazy, man. We've been involved in like so much weird stuff. I've gone to Europe with my dad and 2 times, I think. And all over America into like really weird places. Like it's been a blessing beyond belief to be able to do it and with your family. And of course we butt heads a lot and we're pretty like real with each other about stuff because there's passion and it's something we care about. But yeah, I feel blessed every day to have been able to do this for as long as I've been able to do it. So hopefully we'll keep it going.
Absolutely. And I'm sure he feels the exact same way. I bet he would say it almost exactly the same way that you just said it. So is 2025 the year that we are going to get David Childers into the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame? I say this all the time. It's going to happen this year, right?
I would love for that to happen. I don't know much about it at all. But yeah, if somebody can do it, that'd be awesome.
We're just going to keep manifesting it, I think, until,
my dad's musical legacy is beyond like a lot of what people know. Like as an artist, he's done stuff people don't even know about. I was watching something the other day and Unknown Henson came on and my dad was in the background playing multiple roles in his show. And, I was like, oh man, I forgot he did that. Like, he's always been a playwright and writing cool poetry and coming up with great ideas for stuff. So yeah, my dad, he should be in something like that.
He belongs. I've talked to Dolph about it. I talked to last week. Who did we talk? My God, I'm blanking on Daniel Costin. I had on last week. he talked about it. He's like on the board of directors or something. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen somehow. We're manifesting it, like Ryan said. We just keep talking about it until it actually happens. Because,
as a matter of fact, I'm doing a show January 25th, an art show with my dad and a bunch of other local artists. Jason Thomas Atkins, who's incredible. This guy Kevin Helms, Johnny Boswell, Corey Ziegler, a bunch of dudes. But Hope Nichols, who's in the North Carolina Hall of Fame from Fetchin' Bones, is going to play. And her band, It's Snakes, will be like one of the bands playing with this other band, the Menders. So, yeah, maybe she can make something happen.
There you go. We need all the connections we can. Dolph's a pretty good one to get, but it's gonna happen. All right. So I want to ask you some stuff about the Avetts, because we're the Avetts and Beyond and all that. Did you introduce your dad to like Scott and Seth back in the day? Did I hear that right?
So I was in this band, Dave Rames and the Westchesters, and
one of your 20 bands.
Yeah, well, we recorded this song "Love, Love, Love" for Dave's first record with the Avetts at this dude Eric Lovell's house, and Eric was in our band. And then Dave was on a song called "Love Like the Movies" with the Avetts, and I guess we were doing shows with them. We did something at the neighborhood theater. That's kind of how the whole thing happened, as far as I remember. And then we did like a little run of shows with them through Ohio, West Virginia, like a bunch of weird places.
So you're my age, I think, right? You're like Scott Avetts' age. I'm 48.
Yeah, I'm 47.
Okay, well, I'm older than you. Great. Okay.
A little bit. I'm about to be 48, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm about to be 49, so it happens. Whatever. But so you told me a long time ago that you have some wild stories of being with the Avetts on the road. Can you tell any wild stories? I like wild stories.
I don't know. I played one show with the Avetts where they had like 25-cent PBR, and I was a drinker at the time, and I was getting on those and drank like $10 worth, and I think I did terrible. And then I ended up like throwing up on the back of this dude's neck in the car. It was a bad experience. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't kick with the Abbott Brothers that much. When we went out, I don't know. We were into different things, should we say? But yeah, I didn't really hang out with them that much at all. I don't really have any stories. Sorry.
This is Todd's standard thing now. I'm noticing he wants wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy.
We're just gonna have to start asking our guests to make up wild and crazy
guys.
Yeah, just make. Can you make something up?
You've got this different image of the Avetts in reality.
Yeah, I don't think they're those kind of dudes. Yeah. I think they're more
not too wild and crazy.
They're not wild guys. None of them have struck me that way. I was definitely different than them, should we say?
Yeah. So you were the wild one. So you have lots of wild stories that just didn't involve the Avetts.
Yeah. I mean, while those shows were happening, I was heading out into whatever town we were in to do whatever was happening. But I mean, I've worked in clubs for like 25 years, and that leads to wildness. And at the time when I was hanging out with the Abe brothers, or when we were working with them a little bit, I was like probably like 21, 22. I wasn't very old. It was, I think, right after 9/11 or something. But I was working construction and working at the Milestone Club and pretty much living there. So it was definitely a wild time for me.
At that age, yeah, I bet it was. What's it? How do you feel about them doing your dad's songs? Like they play his songs.
I mean, it's an honor. I really appreciate that they do it. It's incredible that those songs have moved them that way. And I think most of the songs they do are songs that we did when we were on the road with them from that Room 23 album, which we had made with Dolph right around that time. I guess that Scott worked on, which album is it? Run Skeleton Run. He did like the intro.
Oh, right.
It was a great honor, and we appreciate that a lot.
Very cool. All right, you said you'd play me a song. Do you have your guitar right there?
I do.
You want to play something?
Sure.
If you're watching on YouTube, we got the leaves hanging down in front of the camera for the effect. It's really cool looking here. Robert Childers is going to play something for us.
Shadows cast by the kudzu street light in South Carolina, summer night. Pearl Swamp Bear, cicada sing there. She gonna tell you how it is. Lost in the city, tricked by the church school, fresh out of jail, looking good. Shooting off fireworks from the chaos, a ritual so misunderstood. The type of thinking kill Lincoln. A type of baby gonna ruin your life. A rich daddy, she's a baddie. A type of lover like a razor knife. Superhuman cute, making you look creepy. Matter of fact, stay away from me. I told my good girl all the things I hid. It's pouring over, now they can't be peace. Superhuman cute, making you look creepy. Matter of fact, stay away from me. I told my good girl all the things I hid. Pouring over, now they can't be peace. I am a warlock running up on you. I as a killer, baby, I as a priest. Hiding with 100 now, I will deny them. I'm a beast, babe, on the blast beats. Megiddo is the place, the rich ones call there. Armageddon rises, Armageddon sleeps. Armageddon rises, Armageddon seeps. Armageddon rises, Armageddon speaks. That's a Do-What song, which is another band I do.
Nice. Now, what was that song?
It's from a band called The Do-What. What is that song called?
The Do-What.
Yeah, it's actually, we're putting that's on my new compilation thing I was working on.
Oh, cool. All right. I like that.
I don't know what the name of that one is. Song for South Carolina or something like that. That song's about those crazy times I was talking about. But yeah.
All right. Throwing up on guys' necks.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't hear that in there, but yeah, well, that's what I'm going to remember.
It was much darker.
Yeah, okay. A little bit. I heard Armageddon in there, so.
You're very busy with different art projects, different music projects.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff. So if you're driving down the road, what are you actually listening to in your car? Like what is on your playlist?
This minute, I got like a Double X album, and then I have what is that band? Bad Livers, which is like an LA kind of bluegrass band. I mean, I listen to the Gorge a lot. I like Bad Religion, Angry Samoans, Fugazi. I constantly listen to Fugazi. I mean, I'm a punk rocker. Like, you know, I listen to punk rock. I listen to a lot of hip hop too. My daughter forces me to listen to Kiss 95.1 continuously. So I like, you know, Morgan Wallen. I like that new Kendrick Lamar song, They Not Like Us. I mean, I'm you know, big on Tribe Called Quest, Diggable Planets. You know.
That sounds like my playlist.
Tom Waits. I listen to a lot of Tom Waits.
Tom Waits, nice. I'm taking notes here because I'll play some songs around our interview that are, you know, stuff that you've been listening to. So that's cool. What else did I want to?
Can I ask you? Also, you have I just noticed. I just saw Dylan Walsh play in Durham.
Yeah.
Saturday night. He opened up for the Young Dubliners, and that was a fun show. It seems like you might be doing a show with him in February. Is that right?
Yep, February 22nd. We're playing at Petra's with him with Jesus Christ is the Path to Heaven and Brute Beat. And Jesus Christ is the Path to Heaven is a really cool band, very indie, but how to describe it? Like, it's incredible. It's folk, but being kind of modest mousy. Really good stuff. But we're doing that at Petra's February 22nd with Dylan, who I've been really inspired by and blown away by his voice and his approach to singing. And
yeah, I've been mesmerized, and I've just been listening to he said that he was trying to focus on improving his Spotify this year, and he's been charting it every week, I think, on his social. And I think I'm trying to contribute to it because I've been having him on in my car the last week.
See, I've never been on the Spotify's. I don't know what any of that is. It's weird to me.
Well, he only puts certain things. Like, I think he, like Abe, and like you, I think an analog approach, but he only puts certain things out there, like enough to whet your appetite, I guess.
I should figure all that out. It'd probably be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably should figure that out at some point, but
well, There's the economics of it all too, though. I think I can appreciate actual people pushing physical media now because I think.
Well, you're not making money off of being on Spotify, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
You're making money by selling merch, selling records, selling CDs.
Fractions of pennies.
Yeah.
I'm weirdly constantly watching like hip hop podcasts, which I don't really know why I get into them, but I do. I've been sucked into them fully. And they're always complaining about how Spotify pays them money. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't even mess with it.
Nah, I mean, yeah. Depends on what you want out of it, I guess.
Right. I'm going to mention one more thing here. You know Tim Mossberger, right?
Yeah.
He pointed out the other day, he commented on a post that I had that one of his favorite, some of his favorite music over the last 20 years was your music, the Luciferian Agenda.
Yep.
How long ago was this?
Not that long ago.
Is it one of 30 bands that you're in?
Yeah. Luciferian Agenda, it's kind of like what I just played. I mean, it's that style of stuff, but
right. That's what made me think of that.
I put out all these weird, like, they were all Bandcamp albums, and you can download them for free, and they're out there. But I was lucky to do a record with these guys, Power Stance. They're like a label from Charlotte, and they had a really great studio, and we made a Luciferian Agenda record with them. And then I probably did like 4 just on my own that are out there, and they're bizarre. They're more like confessionals of weird teenage insanity.
It was cool though. I listened to a couple of them, and I'm like, I get it. That's I get what Tim was saying. Like it's cool. It's different. That's for sure.
When I was a kid, we were like, Charlotte was a very weird city, and we would go to Raleigh a lot too, and Greensboro. And I lived in Greensboro for a while, but punk rock at the time was very violent, and we would get into weird like wars with different skinhead groups.
Jeez.
And I feel like all those Luciferian Agenda songs come out of that. So it's a very primal, destructive form of music. I had another band called 2013 Wolves at the time that was very similar that I sent y'all a little clip of. But yeah,
all right.
I was doing that kind of stuff.
I think we need to document all these band names.
It's
As a matter of fact, before you did that, I was in this band called 17 Dead. And we were like notorious. We were teenagers. We were also like a really like negative gang. And we would go out and do kind of horrible stuff. We would have shows where we would attack the audience. And for some reason, we would get booked all the time. Like people loved us. We would actually bring a crowd. But it was like, we knew about Gigi Allen and stuff. So we were kind of like trying to be on that edge. But then our singer was like a real criminal. And he had like multiple aliases and was older. And went on a campaign of different like church bombings. He tried to blow up my dad's office. He ended up being in a hotel room at the Belmont Motel on Highway 74 making pipe bombs, and the pipe bombs exploded and blew this dude's arm off. And so it's really weird. Like all those songs.
You need a song about that story.
Well, there's definitely a song about that. It's called Under Threat, and it's a Luciferian Agenda song, which I feel like Tim was one of the ones he really dug from what he told me. So there you go.
I'll be looking that one up.
I gotta find that now. But I am the guy that also like comes up with just putting these little banners on the show, right? Of what we see on the screen. I was trying to come up with. Usually, I'll say like Daniel, music photographer, very straightforward. Scott Avetts often says he considers himself an artist, not a musician. What do you label yourself as? Like, what do you see yourself as? Because you're a painter, you're a songwriter, you're a performer. Well, you're a lot of things too.
Sound guy.
When people ask me what I do, I say I'm an artist, but I do a lot of DoorDash deliveries during the mornings. So yeah,
you're a man of many talents.
Yeah, I try to stay busy.
Yeah, that's
I've been lucky. Like lately, I've been able to be an artist. I've been selling paintings, and
it's hard to be an artist in this time, in this world. I get that.
It is.
So that's helpful because I was, like I said, I was trying to come up with what is the label I'm going to put on Robert that you would actually approve of.
artist
No,
slash DoorDash driver.
Artist
Well,
slash
man, that's some weirdness. Like, I live in a really crazy town, Gastonia. I don't know if y'all know about it, but it's notorious. Like, Fred
I've
Durst.
heard of it, but I know from being a North Carolina guy myself, and I'm from Winston-Salem, from Rural Hall, outside of Winston. Like, but I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
Well, if you live in Gastonia, you got to fight, and that's part of the culture. So, if somebody was to say something to you, you'd have to fight them. And I drive around all day long through Gastonia, which it probably has the biggest homeless population of any place around here, and it's amazing. Like, I go into some incredible places. I get to deliver, gallons of milk to homeless encampments in the middle of fields and burnout houses that you would never think people live in, and they're all up in there.
My gosh.
It's wild. I love it. So
I feel like we need to have a second episode with you so we could talk about all this crazy stuff. I like the crazy stuff, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface on the crazy.
well, I was glad to talk about real stuff like art and things that
Yeah.
paint me in a more positive light.
Yeah, definitely. And the record. I wanted to talk about the record more than anything. The Satan You're a Liar is a great band name. My gosh, that album is so good.
Thank
People
you.
need to go get it. Go to abepartridge.com if you haven't yet and get it and listen to it, and you'll be blown away as well. Let's build this house together. Absolutely brilliant piece of art, and you guys did a great job with it. And man, I hope to hear a lot more from all of you together, because a second record like that would be so cool. But I'm enjoying the first one for a while right
Well, I
now.
want to make sure that it doesn't sound like I'm taking the credit for the record, because that record was definitely a group effort, and I could
Oh
have done
yeah, no,
Kenneth Engelhart, any of those guys, especially like Abe and my dad bringing in just incredible singing and playing.
Yep.
It was great to do.
Just
So
absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
thank y'all.
Yeah, Robert, thank you so much for coming on. We're
Yeah,
out
thank
of
you for
time
having me.
here. Ryan,
Oh,
did you have anything else that you
no, I'm
wanted to
good.
throw out there before we go?
No.
Thank y'all for
My
letting me
last
do
thing.
your song.
My last thing I was gonna say was don't tell my wife, but I bought 2 of the records so I could gift one to somebody, because I was just like, I want to I want to like share it with somebody and just say, hey, put it in somebody's hand and say, you need to listen to this.
Let me show y'all this thing, if you can see it. This is
Okay.
Keith Morris of Black Flag, and he used to
Oh,
live
wow.
in downtown Mount Holly, and people don't know that, but I think it's important. I did a whole painting about that. Anyway,
That's amazing.
I
That
got
is
Your
art.
artwork's awesome. Where
January
can
25th.
people get your artwork?
Just holler at me on Facebook or Instagram. I got that art show January 25th at Confluence South Fork, and I'll be at Free Range Brewery this Sunday, playing music, and I'll have some paintings there. But yeah, just find me. I try to keep them with me.
So come to your shows and you're going to run into art.
Yep,
That's
we
cool.
try to bring art to all our shows.
And that's how you guys make money. So I mean, you gotta get out, support the music, but also buy the merch, buy the records, buy the paintings, and it helps so much. So, Robert
Well,
Childress,
the Abe
thank you
Brother
so much for
audience has been
coming on.
amazing to us and has really just
Yeah.
helped us in so many ways, and we appreciate
Yeah.
it. And it's just, I can't say how much it means to us enough to y'all. So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, again, Robert, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
I hope we run into you down the road.
Right on. Thanks, brothers.
All right, take
Have a
care.
good night.
Bye-bye.